All right. Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight? Welcome to the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream. I am your host, Jeff Freeman, and right over here is my co-host, Jack Campbell. Jack, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing well. Unfortunately, we're back to the hot, humid weather back
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I know. Here too. I hope it doesn't come through too badly here, but I've got an actually window air conditioner running in here. I hope you guys can hear it. Hey, folks, welcome to the show tonight, man. I tell you what, it was a great one last night. I was that season finale. I thought was really pretty darn good. What'd you think, Jack?
I liked it. I mean, they did some stuff last night that they've always wanted to do,
Yeah.
and I want to hear more of the data when they get back and get everything analyzed out and see what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's very true.
Saying something's 40 feet below you and you can't see it, that disturbed me a little bit.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, me too, for sure. Yeah, Linda said she can't hear the AC running. That's good. All right. So who we got here with Sharon? Sharon's here tonight. Janet. Yes, it was a great show last night. I thought so too.
Pam Block, hello, welcome.
Pam's here. Yeah. And of course, we have Linda Simpson and Jan Anderson out there working hard. Oh, speaking of Jan Anderson, I got to say this right here. Of course, you guys know that I'm from the UP of Michigan originally. And Jan got me this T-shirt. And I tell you what, I was wearing it one night when I did a little promo or something like that. And I was wearing this T-shirt, but I forgot to say, that she had got this for me for a present. Isn't that cool? I love this thing. This is really cool. Anyway, thank you so much, Jan, for this. And Linda Simpson out there working hard in the chat tonight. Over on the YouTube side, wow, we got several people over here tonight. Let's see. We've got, Kate's over there. Hi, Kate. How you doing? Let's see. And Jenny's over there. Hi, Jenny. Welcome. Pam Block. Yeah, we got that going. Yeah, I tell you what, I thought the show last night was really pretty good. I was very excited after the show with the rockets that were going on, and all that, and they didn't gather a whole lot of data, from the rockets, but they were trying to, again, they were back there trying to poke the hornet's nest, and I think they were able to do so in this case and we'll get to that as we go along here. Anne Marie's here. Hi, Anne Marie.
I just saw that.
Barb over on Twitch. All right. Hi, Barb. Hi, how you doing? Yes, it was a great show. I was really impressed with it last night. I really was. I thought Marie's watching. Right, Marie?
At the ranch last night.
At the what? Say that again.
I think that's the most I've seen Brandon at the ranch.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he did spend quite a bit of time there. Barbara's here with us tonight. The cow's reaction, yeah, it was. Yeah, we'll get to that here in just a little bit as well. But you're exactly right. Yeah, the cow reaction was pretty cool. Yep, thank you, Jan. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to have the phone line up tonight, and I'll put up the little banner here. Let's see. There it is there. So the phone is on. If anybody wants to call in as we go along here tonight and talk about anything. This was the season finale, as you all know, season 2, episode number 10, and it was called It Follows. And I think they'd like to put these things together in such a way that kind of talks about what it is they're doing on the show for their experiments and that kind of thing. But I'll tell you, this was a really interesting one. Let's see. The rockets, when they did all those rockets, not only was it pretty cool, but it did teach them something in one respect, or several, but one respect for sure was that not only could they reach those levels to get up around 5,000 feet or higher, up to 10,000, 12,000 feet, but they didn't really capture any good data on the instruments that they were putting inside. And I think that the biggest problem behind that was the fact that they weren't up there long enough. And I think that's what they kind of discovered from that, and then decided, let's go take it to the next level, which is when they got together at the end of the show and asked Brandon about going up in the helicopter. So, because that way they could actually spend some time, more time up there. Yeah, it was. Barb said it was very surprising and eye-opening, and I agree with you. And Jane's here. Hi, Jane. Jane Newman's here with us tonight as well. So, yeah. Watched them. You watched the Janet said she watched the marathon yesterday. It
That
was
was part of
good to be able
marathon.
to catch up on all the past shows. Yeah, I didn't get to do that. I was working, so I didn't get the opportunity to watch them all until I got home. So, but yeah, I like that when they do that, especially toward the end of the season like this, when you can kind of catch up on everything. But yeah, that was pretty cool. So, and I did want to also say too, don't forget, if you're out there on the YouTube side, click on that subscribe button for us. And if you want to be notified as when we go live on new shows or when I put up new content, sometimes I record things and put them up there. And if you click on the notification bell, it will tell you when I put up new content or when we're going live. You'll get that notification. If you don't want that, just uncheck it so you won't get notified. And that way you don't get those things coming across. And I'm going to put that banner up there real quick. So yeah, it's just out there on the YouTube side. For those of you who are not already watching over there, it's JFree906. It's also JFree906 out on Twitch TV as well. It's twitch.tv. You can see it over there as well, and you can chat over there. Now, the chat doesn't show up over on the Facebook side. They won't see it, but anybody that's watching on the YouTube or Facebook, Twitch will see the comments. And I'll try to do my best to bring them up there so that we can, so everybody can see them at that point. And we also have the Patreon channel. So if you feel that you'd like to help support the show, you can always go out to the Patreon. It's not a channel. It's actually just a page, but it's our Patreon page. And again, it's JFree906 if you want to help support the show. We really appreciate that very much because it does cost. Hey, Wayne Murphy, how you doing? Hey, from TTNA, Team Templar North America. Hi, Wayne.
Hello, Wayne.
Here tonight.
Robert Duncan, hello.
Yep. So, all right. So let's kind of jump into it here. So as always, I always bring up the let me click on this here real quick. Yeah, and I had to use the background again with the so I'm sitting in the control room. I just love that control room. I know I've said it before, but man, if I could make one, someday maybe I'll whip this studio into to look like that control room. I love that thing.
You need one of those video screens. You can flip it up and then flip another one down.
Yeah. I could actually use one more monitor up here. I tell you, as much as I got going on. Yeah, need the visuals. I know. Here they come. So, yeah. So, well, I always like to start off with this one. And of course, this is a History Channel TV show that we are talking about tonight. Everybody knows that if you've been watching the show. So I always like to bring up their logo there for just a moment. And, yeah, the control room is my favorite too, I think. Although, what I had, if you guys missed the show last Saturday, excuse me, if you missed the show last Saturday, I had Thomas Winterton on, and I tell you what, wasn't that, I enjoyed that. I usually do, we always have such great guests. We're fortunate to have such great guests coming on the show, and Thomas Winterton did not disappoint. Man, we covered lots of stuff in season 1. We covered stuff in season 2. And you know what?
He's very, very open, and
just
fun to be around and talk.
He is. He's just a fun guy. And the thing about it too is that he gave us an inside look at a lot of this stuff, things that we didn't know. And he does these little. If you haven't seen, he does these little videos where he goes out and he's just working on the ranch. He's doing the irrigation or whatever. I put up another one just the other day. And he was doing some filming, and I like those. I like watching those. Those are really cool. I tell you, I would, as I told him on the show on Saturday, I told him, I said, when he's out there at night, though, sometimes I'd be a little.
I'd be packing. I would definitely that.
Whether or not packing would do you any good in the end, I don't know. But with what may show up out there, but I tell you, I would be a little hesitant to be hanging around there at nighttime, with all the weird things happening. I gotta, and yet he does it. He doesn't even think, anything about it. He just goes about his business. He likes the solitude. He says once he gets out there on the ranch, he's kind of closed in there, and he kind of likes that solitude. So that's really cool. David's out here with us on the YouTube side. He said last night, let's see, bring this up real quick. Last night I thought there was a little wimpy when they called the end to the flight. Well, you know what? I'd like to have tried to see them go all the way up, David, to the top of the height that they were trying to get to, but none of us were on that helicopter at the time. We're all watching it on TV, And I tell you what, with the things blaring and going off, and as they said, it's Cameron's call.
It was Cameron's call all the way through.
Yeah, and I can't blame him. I honestly can't blame him for calling an end to it and bringing it down, because you never know what could happen. And as I was going to get to this as we go on, but he said that the higher he went, the more in frequency the anomaly showed up underneath them. So they were a little reluctant to go that high. So I don't know. None of us sitting on there. It's easy to, to say when we're sitting in a chair watching it. I really wanted to see him go all the way as high as they could, or wanted to go, and get that.
And he's got 2 other people to think about in that helicopter also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the other point. It's not just Cameron, flying that thing. I mean, it's him flying it, of course, but it's not only him whose lives are in his hands at that point. So, yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Barbara Duncan just said that's very true. Nope. Well, let's see. Nope, I missed it. It's because I wasn't scrolling over here. Sorry about that. Here it is. If paranormal rules apply, if it's haunted at night, it's haunted in the daytime. That's right. Whether it's ghosts or aliens. Yeah, it's the paranormal. That's, you always see paranormal shows, and it is something that we're going to be talking about. We're actually working on a new show that we're going to be coming up in the future real soon. A guy, John and I, and it's going to be talking some paranormal and UAPs and all kinds of stuff. But that's one of the key points right there, is that you see all these paranormal investigation shows going on at nighttime. Well, I think it's because mainly, and I've heard a few of them describe this, and I know that we always like to do it at night simply because of the fact that you get to then get rid of a lot of outside disturbances, because most people are in bed at those hours. So you don't have that going on. But that the paranormal activity is happening all the time. It's not confined to just being at night. So just keep that in mind too. So you're right. But again, it's just something about the nighttime, right? When you're out there at night, like, Thomas would be going around on the ranch at night. So, something to think about there for sure. Let's see. 2 episodes. I'm just looking at who was, let's see. I want to get a name here because there's no name on that. I don't see it over here. Why am I not seeing it? So waiting, it will be sending on History Germany. I have watched 2 episodes tonight from the first season. Oh, okay.
Marie.
Oh, is that Anne? Okay, sorry. Yep. All right. Yep. So.
And I guess they had trouble in Canada last night too.
Oh, did they? Getting
it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I did hear about that. There was some people who didn't. Yeah. Thank you, Linda. That was Anne Marie. I guess there was some people who didn't get to watch it up in Canada. Hey, Jeff, how you doing? Glad to see you here with us tonight. Let's see. Don't want to take a chance. Yes, you're exactly right, Jenny. You don't want to take a chance that was ever causing the malfunction would permanently damage the equipment and cause them to crash. Better safe than sorry. I agree 100% with you on that, for sure. Yeah, hi, Jeff. Glad you're here tonight. Really appreciate you coming by. So, all right, let's jump into it a little bit here. So, yeah, there's the logo for the ranch, of course. And starting off the show, they immediately jumped in where they were having a meeting with Brandon and Cameron, his brother Cameron, in the hangar there, and they were discussing, the whole thing about safety protocols and what they were going to be doing with the helicopter in the first place. Erik was explaining how he was going to be attaching a few different pieces. Different pieces of equipment to it, and right off the bat, he had to also qualify that by saying none of these are going to be anything that's going to transmit or broadcast in any way, so they should have no effect on the helicopter itself, on the aircraft. They're just going to be receiving telemetry or data or whatever, collecting data, but not doing any kind of a broadcast. So that's very important. Obviously, you don't want any of the instrumentation on there to be affected by what the equipment that you're carrying, right?
And they were putting them on the landing gear pretty much too.
Yeah, exactly. On the belly or whatever. Yeah, they were attaching stuff on the belly of the helicopter there. Well, I forget what kind of helicopter that thing is, but that thing's awesome, isn't it?
Oh,
You look inside, you look at the luxury in there. The seats are just beautiful, and they've got Bose headsets that they're using. I mean, just everything about it is just top notch. That's really nice. And I always thought that Cameron owned that. I know he owns planes and stuff and jets and whatnot, but I thought he owned that helicopter. I guess the helicopter is actually owned by Brandon. The Airbus. Okay. It's an Airbus. Yeah. I don't remember the numbers either. Thank you, Linda. Yeah. It's an Airbus. So, but yeah, really, that's a top notch aircraft for sure.
the other thing I wondered, they only sent 3 up when they went up in the thing. I thought it sat more. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, actually, there's 3 seats across the back. If I remember correctly, there's actually 3 seats. There's 2 seats in the front and 3 seats across the back. And of course, Erik was in the back by himself. So definitely
maybe there was too much equipment.
2 more people. Yeah. Well, he needed room. He had a laptop and some other stuff going on back there.
Right.
So they had their little meeting here in the room, in the conference room here, or getting things ready and making sure that they had all their stuff together of how they wanted to handle this. Now, one of the things that Travis and Erik talked about was what was the game plan? How high did they want to try to get to? Now, as you see here, and as they described, and I wasn't thinking about this until they described it here, was that they wanted to get to that 5,000 foot level, which is a mile above, or roughly a mile above the ground, but it's 10,000 feet above the sea level. Now, I wasn't thinking about that because I really wasn't sure.
I had to go over that for 3 times to get that straight in my head.
Yeah, I know. Well, they kept talking about 2,500 feet.
These are some numbers.
Yeah, and that actually being 7,500 feet above sea level, and yeah, it was kind of confusing, but that's exactly it. And I did not know how high the Uinta Basin is off the ground. I mean, above sea level. And obviously it's 5,000 feet above sea level already, which is high desert type stuff. I mean, I did not realize it was actually that high, obviously 5,000 feet above sea level at that portion. But so yeah, they were having to get up to the heights of 10,000 feet above sea level. And that's, they wanted to get up to 12,000, I think, and they didn't quite make it that high. The Woken One is here. Hi, how you doing tonight? Glad you're here with us. Don Brents is here. Glad to see you, Don. Glad you're here with us tonight.
Glad you're
here. He's raging because he missed the part of the first part. Well, we're just now starting to get into it. Yeah, I was flapping my jaws as normal and just taking a while to get into it, but glad you're here with us.
Flying his own plane today out there, maybe.
Yeah, Don probably. Yeah, Don Brents. Yeah. There's B. Davis is here. Houston, Texas. Dave, hi. Glad you're here with us. Welcome, guys. Glad you're here. 10,000 feet. Yep. All right. So that's where they wanted to get up to that point there. Now, and it's really interesting because, you think about a helicopter, you just go out there and go up to this level and hover, and then go up to this level and hover. But no, they didn't. They actually were taking a different route. And here's the picture showing again, and we've seen this one before, but this is where they triangulated from 3 different points. They were getting some sort of an anomaly up about 5,000 feet above the surface level. And this was where it had a convergence point of some sort of weird anomaly happening up there, right? That high up off the ground. So this was that picture showing that. Let me pop this one back down. Thank you. There we go. And the phone number will be back up. And then, then they bring in the helicopter and they bring it over and they get set to put the equipment on there and kind of have a last minute meeting with Cameron about exactly what they wanted to put on board the aircraft and get ready for its flight. And I grabbed this picture. I know you guys have seen this before and there was nothing dramatic about it, but I just love this picture because of the Skinwalker Ridge in the background right there. I really like that shot right there. I just had to grab it in there just for, I guess, because of that reason alone. Now this shows the actual flight path of what they were trying to achieve. So at this point, they're going to be actually circling their way up. And not only because of, they probably could have just hovered up and gone up to these different levels, but they wanted to take different data points from not only just one area directly above, right? They also wanted to be able to gather those data points at like, and I don't know if they were doing them at like 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
I heard him mention 6 o'clock and like that and everything.
So, yeah.
I think they wanted to see how wide it was and everything else, what they were looking for.
Right. So they wanted to be able to get that data at different points at that altitude. So they were getting a good read of all that. And so they might be stronger over at, say, 6 o'clock when they're at 7,000 feet above sea level than it is at 3 o'clock. So that's why they were doing that, which makes absolute sense. The Jersey lady is here. Hi, how you doing? All right, we got quite a few showing up over on YouTube tonight. I really appreciate you coming by. Thank you very much. And if you want to make comments, I do my best to read the comments and throw them up here. So if you folks have things you want to join, that's why we're doing this. You guys have heard me say it before. That's why we do this show, because we want to be able to come on here and exchange ideas and thoughts about the show that we just watched. So that's what we're here for. So feel free to throw stuff up there and
we'll try to catch it.
Oh, like Mary said that. Hi, Mary. Mary said that the sound kept cutting out on the Facebook feed, so I switched to YouTube. Hope I didn't miss anything important. Now we can, we'll basically cover everything again. So, let's see. Oh, there's John. John Edwards. Hi, John. Glad you're here. So anyway, so that's the reason why they were taking this particular pattern, because they wanted to, basically circle the triangle area, which is where they were triangulated above the triangle area where the anomalies were. So that's why they did that. Sound on Facebook is glitchy. Oh boy. If it's not one platform, it's another that we have issues with. The last time we were having issues with YouTube. Yep. Oh, sorry about that. Right, jump over on the YouTube side if you don't, or over on Twitch, and hopefully it'll be okay there. So sorry about that. Anyway, so that was the reason for that, and that's why I love when they show us these visuals like this, so we get an idea of exactly what they are trying to accomplish when they're doing that. And then you kind of saw now this was the other neat thing I thought too. Now we know that these helicopters and airplanes and stuff like that are flying around have transponders, whether or not they're at a certain level or not. And I forget what altitude that is. If they're flying below a certain altitude, they don't have to have the transponder on. I forget what that is. Is that around 5,000 feet? I think under 5,000 feet, they don't have to have it on or something like that. But they did have a special transponder on that was sending signal down for Dragon and also Thomas Winterton that were down on the patio, and they had equipment set up so that they could get this data right here, this telemetry of where the actual helicopter was at any given point. And that's what you're seeing here on this screen is actually the helicopter's path. And you see right down here at the bottom, right down here is where it was at the point of this particular snapshot that I took. The helicopter was right down here. It was at the 6 o'clock position as he was circling and making his, no need for transponder under 10,000 feet. Thank you. I couldn't remember. Yeah, below 10,000. So John said that too. Yeah, thank you, John. Appreciate that. Yeah, I knew you guys wouldn't know the answer to that.
That's our members.
Go ahead. What was that?
That's our members. If we don't know, they will.
Exactly. That's why I love this. Let's see. What did the Awoken one said? Apart from the Earth, a magnetic field giving off electrical signals, it makes no sense that they are getting readings at that altitude. As a whole area for miles around would have similar readings. Yep. And that's the thing. When they started. Well, as we go along here, I'll continue with that thought. So there it is. There's the shot, and that's why I was showing the seats. There's 3 seats across the back, if I remember correctly, if not 4. But I couldn't remember if it was just 3 across the back there. And then, of course, Erik's back there with his laptop holding all kinds of stuff. And that was when they were at 2,500 feet above ground level, which was 75 feet above sea level at that particular snapshot right there. And he was collecting his data. And what was neat is they were talking back and forth with Thomas and Dragon on the ground. And he was telling them, okay, you're at 6 o'clock, you're at 3 o'clock or whatever. They were talking back and forth so he could get those data snapshots at that point. And there's just they were directly above the triangle at this. I just love that shot of the helicopter from the rear. And then you could see this equipment that's hanging down here. This is some of the equipment that they had on the helicopter at that time. Yeah. Those two empty seats, they do really look comfy. They're pretty luxury, I would guess. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. That's a nice aircraft for sure. So anyway, and this was a picture showing how this thing works. And I thought he said that when they're under 2,000 feet, this radar altitude is lit up so that it tells them that they are below 2,000 feet, and to be mindful of that because they're getting closer to the ground. And there you see it operating normally and showing 1570 at that particular moment when the picture was taken. And these are some of the snapshots that Travis was taking while he was sitting in there with them as they were going around. So that got you an idea. Now, again, this is a snapshot looking out the window of what the view looks like at 2,500 feet above the ground. That's just wonderful countryside right there. And that's about the time when they started to get an anomaly. Every now and then they were getting an anomaly showing that there was something changing the altitude level of that particular unit, of that particular, I'm going to jump back to that real quick, the radar altitude. Now it's using radar to determine that altitude. It's not using anything else. It's using radar. So what's radar going to do? Radar is going to pick up anything that might be directly below them within the scope of the radar's beam, right? That's what it does. And it would generally be looking at the ground below them. If they flew over a tower, or if they were hovering over a building or something like that, it's going to pick up that building and it's going to read their altitude over that particular building, right? I mean, that's pretty much how they work. I'm going to bring up this. I'm sorry. It's not this one here. This was the second half of what he was saying, which is why, in my opinion, I think either EMP or alien technology is buried somewhere underground, and that would explain the readings in that area and at that altitude. The plot thickens. Yes, it does. It certainly does. Let's see. Somebody else is on. Okay, we got some other people popping in. I'm sorry if I've missed your anyone coming in. Looks like Jackie's here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's Jackie. Hi, Jackie. How you doing? Glad you're here tonight. So that's working on radar altitude. Okay, that's a key thing to remember, that how that particular instrument is working. Like I said, if they're over a tall building, if they were, say, over a skyscraper or something, if they were hovering directly over it, it's going to show them the altitude or the distance between them and the top of that building. I'm not I'm not a electronics on that, expert on these things, but right, that makes sense. That's what it's going to be doing. And some of the equipment that they had up there with them, I wanted to point that out real quickly too. The team was hoping to find out what they were by using Brandon's helicopter to take up equipment such as the RF spectrum analyzer, looking for radio signals up there, gamma ray detector, looking for radiation, and the tri-field meter. Okay, so those were some of the pieces of equipment they had with them up there at that time. And that's what you see. That I think that Travis had the gamma ray detector, And then the tri-field meter and the spectrum analyzer were back with Erik, if I remember that correctly. Right. Don said, or a hill or a mountain peak. Topography. Yeah. It's going to pick up anything. So if they're flying along over flat ground, like they would be right there, if they're flying along over flat ground and all of a sudden they go up over the mesa, if the mesa is 200 feet above the ground level, then it's going to show that up on the radar altitude. That change will definitely be displayed. So yeah, you're right. Thank you, Don, for that. So when they got up there, and then they started getting this anomaly that was saying that the altitude was changing and it was fluctuating around 40 or so feet below them, right?
Yes.
And so right off the bat, they're like, well, what is below us that would be making this change? And so they were like, there's something underneath us. There has to be some sort of something underneath us that's making it change. And it wasn't like a constant. It wasn't saying, okay, it's 45 feet and hanging there. It was actually changing, moving around 42 to 49, up to 50 or down to 35.
40 and 50 feet.
Yeah, I mean, that's nuts right there. And alarms are going off because it's warning them, hey, you're about to hit the ground. So what did Barbara say here? Interesting as the altitude sensor would read a wide area under the helicopter. I think it doesn't just read straight down. I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure how wide that beam is going to be. Maybe if we have some aviation people out here that are somebody that knows that particular piece of equipment better than I do, can chime in and kind of let us know what's let us know about that a little bit better, because I'm not exactly sure on how that completely how that works. What have we got here, John? Okay, John, let me see what you got here. Radar send out electromagnetic waves similar to wireless computer networks and mobile phones. The signals are sent out as short pulses, which may be reflected by objects in their path, in part reflecting back to the radar. Thus, Jeff showing the distance in this case on the altitude. Topography would do this unless it was a stable hover. Yes, exactly. Then it becomes a high strangeness. Exactly. And that's what was really key about this, was that it was constantly changing. Now, granted that while they're up there flying in that helicopter, they're moving around a little bit, especially as he was circling. And he was doing the circling, and yet whatever that anomaly was, initially it wasn't. It was coming and going. So eventually it got to the point where it was more steady. And that's when Cameron he tells the team that the radar altimeter is showing that they are only 40 feet above the ground. Cameron says something could be under them, and that's why Thomas runs out there and with the binoculars to have a look. And of course, he sees nothing there. There's absolutely nothing underneath the aircraft that he can see with a naked eye or using his binoculars.
And his hellfinder wasn't showing anything either.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that was my next point. That the looking at the screen over there, that the monitor that they were using for the transponder, there was no other transponder signal showing up of any other aircraft in the area that would be underneath them or even in that particular area. So what in the heck was causing that, right? Now, is it something, and again, this kind of goes back to, my lack of knowledge on some of the electronics, but sorry about that. I caught the wrong banner up. There we go. There's the phone number. Sorry about that. I see Linda keeps putting up the phone number, and I had it covered up. Sorry about that. That's why I need you guys so badly out there. There, thank you. It takes me a while to kind of catch up with what you're typing over there in the chat. Anyway, as I digress. So, but yeah, Thomas runs out there and he's looking up at the helicopter with his binoculars and he doesn't see anything. So that's pretty wild. So, and here they are, they're all up there flying around, but I tell you, this has got to freak you out to some degree. I mean, here you are flying around in this helicopter and now something is causing alarms to go off, and giving a sense that there's something underneath the aircraft that could possibly collide with them, or something that is causing that altimeter to go wacky. If it's going to affect that, could it affect something else besides the altimeter? Could it affect anything?
And he couldn't shake it because they were going at a certain speed, and it would speed up and slow down. It was just like it was mimicking their every move.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. It kept coming back. Kate said, I didn't watch it, but did they have long-range cameras on the helicopter? I don't believe so. Not mounted on the helicopter that I know of. They had the one on the tail cam, and I think that was the only one. If I remember correctly, it's the tail cam that they had on it. Now, looking back toward the, I want to call it the fuselage. I don't know what they call it on a helicopter, if it's still called a fuselage or not. But yes. Yeah, Jersey lady said that they even looked through the window in the floor of the aircraft and saw nothing below. Yeah, there's those little windows on the front of the bubble there that they can look down. Yeah, Linda said I would have gone along. I would have too. Yeah, I would have been on that helicopter. I would have said, yeah, I'll go on board. I'll fly up there for sure. Not a problem. Yeah. Oh, from the ground up to the helicopter. We didn't see too much as they got up higher. You see them taking off and whatnot, but once they got up there, yeah, I didn't see any footage of them up there at that point. Now, you would think that Erik is very good about having the cameras that are on the ranch positioned around, and we'll get to see a little bit of an example of that here coming up in just a minute. But you would think that he would have cameras positioned to be looking up there at that point from the ground. Just in case.
Those cameras have the range to go up that high is the biggest question right now.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It'll see it, but it could be just a speck once he gets up there high. Yeah. So you may not. I don't know. Hard to say. But then again, we didn't know that he had all those cameras footage that he was reading that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, which is another very, very interesting point about what they showed us in the show last night of things that they captured. Then at some point when they were up, I think this was up around just before, they were at about 7,500 feet above sea level still at this point. And Travis tells Erik that there was a slight spike in the gamma rays on his dosimeter for just a moment. Okay. That's significant too. Why are they getting a gamma ray spike 7,500 feet above sea level? Well, we know that they've been getting weird anomalies up that high anyway. Because that's why they're up there in the first place, because they were getting some sort of weird anomalies that they wanted to try to capture. But what would be causing that spike? Now, I guess it was just that one spike. I didn't hear him mention it again. But again, very interesting that the fact that they did get a spike for a moment anyway, while they were up there on the gamma ray. So that's your radiation detector going off at that point. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Kate says maybe if they do this again, they have some cameras or other instruments on the helicopter. Yeah, possibly. And they're gonna. Well, and again, we'll get to that as we go along here. Some other ways that they were talking about trying to get instruments up that high for a sustained period again. And I believe this. Let's see. I believe this is. John just read up on it. Radar range depends on the technology being used. Do we know the system they use on the helicopter? I do not, and I don't think they mentioned it. It doesn't really. Well, I can bear with me for a moment, folks, while I kind of backpedal here. It's a Garmin, but I don't see any kind of model number on it, unless it's. I'm not sure what this information says over here in the corner. DH. And then 150. I don't know if that's a model number, but it just says Garmin. So there you go. If you want to look that up and see exactly if you can get any data on that, but it is a Garmin unit. So try that. Check that out. Okay. So here is the shot that he took with his camera or his phone. Travis did, that is showing DH 150. There you go. Cool. Yeah. So there is a shot that he took of that unit showing that there's something 50 feet below them. That's pretty scary. I got to tell you, honestly. Yeah. He said once, and I was just reading the synopsis here again. They continue to take readings at 8,500 feet. Once finished, Cameron tells Dragon that they are moving to 10,000 feet. The radar altimeter sounds again, and Travis begins taking a video diary, which is this shot right here. A video diary of the radar altimeter with his phone. At 9,500 feet, the alarm sounds again, and Cameron says it is like we are being whatever is here is following them. Yeah. So he also says that they are going 60 knots ground speed, and whatever it is staying with them. Cameron decides to abort the experiment, and that's when they start to come down. But I got to tell you, folks, I mean, it's like that, the one person said there earlier, and I've forgotten your name. I'm sorry. I apologize. But, talking about the fact that, they were kind of wimpy because they aborted it. I don't know, if this kind of thing is happening and you're sitting on that aircraft, I don't know. I would be, Deborah. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Didn't need a camera under the helicopter. That would have been neat to be able to look straight down. But they didn't see anything. They didn't see anything when they were looking up. They didn't see anything when they were looking down. So, I don't know what. Okay. So I don't know if they would have seen anything, but it would have been kind of cool to have the camera looking down. Let's see. Yeah, there's a camera that's pointing from the tail towards the on the underside of the helicopter.
I don't know if it would be any good a camera, because if they couldn't see it from the ground,
right?
We're looking through the binoculars.
Yep. Yeah, on Earth, gamma rays are generated by nuclear explosions, lightning, and less dramatic activity of radioactive decay. They were being stalked. That's what Don Brent said. Yeah, they were. They were being stalked. I mean, what could it be? You think about that. And again, folks, this is significant. This is really, really significant that this was happening. I wanted to try to do a little bit of research out on the internet and find out, is this something that, other pilots have seen? But they talked to Cameron, and he's a pilot. I mean, he flies all the time. And he said, I have never experienced this before. Never experienced it before. So you got to take his word on that. This is something that's happening. And if it's showing something is following him underneath that aircraft, I mean, is it something from the ground is it this signal that they were able to triangulate when they get over that certain point? But they're flying around at 60 knots ground speed. And yet whatever it is following them on this circular path that they're taking. So it's not going away. And the higher up they went, the more of frequency of this, because it was coming and going, it wasn't constant. But the higher they got, the more constant it became that this was showing this anomaly underneath the aircraft. That you tell me, if the thing is working by radar, is it going to pick up electromagnetic field and count that as something as an object below the aircraft? I don't think so. I mean, I guess it's possible, but I really don't believe it would be. It's got to be something down there or something underneath the aircraft that is being picked up by the radar that they cannot see. We're here to have
it's a very unsettling feeling when you're up in the air like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Logan one says, whatever is going on Skinwalker Ranch, like Oak Island, that area of Skinwalker Ranch keeps throwing up more questions that there are not answers to that mystery. But they're getting closer, I think. I really do. Yeah. Even instrument malfunction can be scary. I was in a single air engine plane that stalled. Oh, really?
Oh. Ooh.
I laughed there for a moment only because, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I don't know about that. Who said this? Pam. Maybe the ozone layer played a part. I don't know if that could be picked up or static in the air. Maybe, yeah, like you're saying. I don't know. Again, if something is somebody has more knowledge of what would affect radar besides a solid object, maybe you have an idea about that. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it's going to have to be some sort of a solid object, or at least something that the radar is seeing as a solid object. Yeah, they were being ghosted, and that's the truth. Linda said she was too. They were able to glide down, but her heart was about to stop. I can imagine that. I have flown in small planes. Matter of fact, I was able to fly a small plane as a teenager for a little while, and that was wow, that was an exciting thing. But if that engine stopped,
I know. I never had that. I had a tire blow on when they got in the runway.
Really?
Oh, that was scary. Let me tell you.
Wow. Was that on a passenger plane or a little one?
Yeah, a small passenger plane, but you heard that bang. It was everybody's attention was right there, right now. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely. How many times has Cameron flown over the ranch and it's never happened before? That denotes some intelligence in it happening now.
But he kept away from that area, didn't he, Jeff?
Yeah, he normally did. Yeah, he would not. He always said, well, he said in that one episode that he would not fly over the actual ridge, over the mesa.
Over the mesa.
He'd always stay to the south of it when he was flying along. He would never go over top because of different things. So he must have experienced at least something in the past to make him believe that, or he probably wouldn't have had any fear of doing it. But he does. He flies all the time as Brandon's normal pilot. Yeah, obviously he does. They were over. Yeah, they were over the triangle, but at some points they were over the mesa because we saw in that looking at the transponder data, there were times when they were over the top of the mesa when he was making his circles. So I don't know. Kate said, I was a civilian air patrol when I was a kid. Things happen. Wow. Yeah, I love flying. I really do. But it can be scary at times. Yeah, for sure. I would have speculated an old alien base underground at Skinwalker Ranch, but that can be ruled out, as there is no way the government would allow anyone near that area. Yeah. Figuring that they knew about it. Okay, here we go. This is from John. The Garmin uses satellite positioning. Oh, that one does, which is really weird to get altitude fluctuations. Really interesting, because it says on it radar altitude on the screen right there.
Yeah.
So if it's using a satellite for maybe satellite positioning, but would it also use satellite? It's not going to use satellite for the altitude, would it? I don't know.
Location it would be.
Yeah, satellite positioning, yes, but satellite altitude, I don't think it says right on it radar altitude, and radar is going to pick up a solid object underneath. So I don't know. I'm not an expert on these things by any means, but that seems awfully strange. Let's see. This is Sharon. I was once in a plane in the 70s. From Michigan to Maine. We had electrical problems and we had to get another plane. Yeah, I've always been very, very fortunate all the times that I have flown, which has been quite a few, that nothing weird has happened. And I'm gonna not that I'm superstitious, but I'm knocking on wood. Okay, still looking. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. So anyway, so that's just remarkable. What could possibly be affecting that? And following them around. And as I mentioned earlier, the higher they got, the more that seemed to happen, the more it seemed to follow them around as they were going along. This is a shot of the, this is actually the RF spectrum analyzer here, and it's showing some weird signals that he was picking up back there. Now, this would be the laptop that Erik was had on his lap there, and he was recording with, taking these readings, and he was starting to get some anomalous readings up that high. Again, the gamma radiation detector went off. They are getting some weird signals up that high on the spectrum analyzer. I don't think that they said anything about the actual, what was the other instrument they had with them? It was the tri-field meter. I don't remember them saying anything about the tri-field meter going off. Do you remember that, Jack, at all? Or?
I don't remember that one at all.
Yeah, I don't either. So, yeah. So they were definitely getting some weird stuff happening up there. So they decided to abort the flight and come on down, and they did not reach their 12,000 foot level above sea level that they were trying to achieve, which is understandable. I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, with all these weird things going on, it was Cameron's call to bring the craft down and land and call it in.
One altitude meter being so wacky, that's enough in itself right there.
Right. Like you said, what else could it affect besides that they would could be hurt by in some way or stop the if all the instruments just shut down all of a sudden. Then now it's at daytime, of course, so they're going to be able to visually bring it down. But even then, I don't know. That's pretty crazy. So they bring it down on the ground, and then they decide that they're going to get together over in Travis's trailer. And they're going to have a meeting by video conference with Brandon and kind of bring him up to speed as to what happened. Cameron explains that the radar altimeter indicated something was underneath the helicopter, and it stayed with them as they were climbing, getting higher and higher. It was staying with them more frequently underneath. 50 feet, though, folks. I mean, that's just crazy. Travis tells Brandon that it could not be seen by anybody on the ground. Nobody saw it. So there's the there's I got the shot of it. I love this radio directional radio antenna that they've set up behind there, so he can pick out signals. And of course, there's the meeting they were having with Brandon, and bringing him up to speed with what they found. And that's when he had said in there at that point, he says, I've got to come out there and we got to have a sit down. And that's exactly what happened. So the very next day, Brandon flies out, and he joins them to sit down and have a discussion about all this. And that's where Travis proceeds to show Brandon the footage of the radar altimeter and explain how it works. Dragon explains that he and Thomas were watching the flight transponder data as they were mapping the helicopter's location, and the transponder showed their altitude. Erik shares new information after Thomas brings up the fact that they had not seen a lot of aerial phenomena this year. And that's what I thought was really cool, that, we watched the episode last week and we saw all the rockets that they shot off. And as Thomas explained last Saturday on the show when he was here with me live, he had made the remark that they shot off a lot more rockets than we got to see. We saw, I don't know what, probably
5 or 6, I would say roughly.
Yeah, somewhere between 6 and a dozen, half a dozen different launches, but they shot off a lot more than that throughout the day. And as these things were happening, we saw on the show, we saw the one, Tic Tac anomaly that showed up that they all pointed out. We got a shot of that. And that's it right there. That was the one from last week that they showed us. Yeah. Okay, so they had the one Tic Tac anomaly shows up.
And the only other thing they showed was the lightning on the last one.
Yeah. And then the lightning flash that they had on the very last one that they sent up at the end of the evening. But so we thought, okay, well, that was it. We didn't really get a lot of data from the rockets going up and the equipment that they had on them, on the rockets that they were sending up. We didn't really get a lot of anything substantial for as far as data from those. And we didn't really see any anomalies show up except this one, right? Wrong. So Erik goes back and he analyzes the footage from the cameras that we were just talking about. And again, if these cameras, like we were saying, well, why didn't he have any of them looking up? Well, he may have, and we just don't know about it yet. And maybe he didn't, you'd have to really zoom in, or you just have a speck of that helicopter flying around in there. You wouldn't see much else. But here you see he did actually capture a picture of another anomaly that we did not see on the show. And this was during the day when they were shooting up all those rockets, right? Well, that wasn't the only one, was it? He actually captured about
13?
13 of them, he said, right? Was that what it was? 13?
13, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And he said, at one time, he said there was quite a few at one time, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I I listened to it, but when he said that, I was so stunned that he said that I kind of missed a little bit of it.
I think he said there was about 6 at one time had showed up in this one shot. Now, this is looking, I don't know which direction this is. We know that from the position of the cameras by Homestead 1, when they're looking out, they are looking towards that would be the northwest. North would be at the mesa or at the Skinwalker Ridge, and then west would be looking along the ridge towards the west, which I think this shot is kind of looking towards the west. And that's where they saw the one last year out that way. Well, here's this one. But now this shot here, that's not looking that same way. I was trying to figure out, I think this picture right here that's actually covered up by the words, right here in the background, I think is that observation tower that they built that would have been south of the Homestead 1, if I remember correctly. So
by where they drilled last that one.
That was actually they drilled in the triangle area. I think
Right.
this is looking more toward the south. I can see. I know you can't see it on the screen here because it's really small and it's being covered up by the words. But I see this little thing right here sticking up in the air. I think that's that observation tower that they built that was south of Homestead 1, on the far edge of their property, looking back towards the north when they were shooting those laser lights and stuff on the ridge. I think that's right here. I believe that's what this is. So I'm thinking that they're looking, southwest.
Right.
That's what Jan is saying too. I think you're right. I think it's the south and west. Yeah. So
Mary Johnson has the quote of the evening. Says it's too bad so much had to be cut out because of time.
I know. Exactly.
I mean, they could have made almost 2 episodes out of this, but if they'd have wanted to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there was, we were thinking about when Jan wrote the synopsis for the show, she's put all this together. We're thinking, they only did a helicopter flight and a meeting, right? So, yeah, but there was a lot covered in that period of time. And as you well see, but this right here, folks, this is very significant. And this is kind of the thing that John and I are going to be talking about coming up here in a couple of weeks. Why are these here? These are not drones. They're not people out there flying drones around. They're not aircraft. One of the significant things that he had said, Travis had said, I think at one point they mentioned something about contrails. There's no contrails. Okay. No contrail, no vapor trails with these. So they're not aircraft, flying high and, passenger airplanes flying by. Then what are they? Well, they're UAPs, obviously, because we don't know exactly what they are. But one of the significant things that Travis had said, you don't see them coming and going. They appear and then they disappear. After a few seconds, after a minute, 30 seconds, whatever long it is, they appear and then they disappear. You don't see them streaking across. Well, they have had some that streaked across the sky. There are examples of that. I got a picture of one of them that they showed last night on the show. So how can something appear and then disappear? Portals or wormholes, as Don Brent says? Yeah, maybe. Or cloaking technology of some sort. And now, again, we're assuming that these are intelligent, what am I trying to say? These are guided intelligently, whether there's some sort of a intelligent
There's an intelligent being
on
involved.
board or controlling it remotely or something. Who knows? Whether that be, and again, this is something that John and I are going to talk about, whether or not it's going to be from a different country that we don't know that they have this kind of technology, or is it alien off this planet? We don't know. Time warp, yeah, maybe. Janet says time warp, popping in and out of our time, maybe. We just don't know. But how else would something be appearing and then disappearing without streaking across the sky? Now, they do have that. We have seen that. And that's something I wanted to talk about as well, real quick. That one that showed up, it wasn't last week. It was the week before.
Week before.
The one that showed up when remember when Travis was looking for, he wanted Erik to bring up the footage from his trailer that he thought was this big thunderstorm that was happening. And then he looked at the footage. This is when Travis was home and he was looking at his camera footage and he thought there was a big thunderstorm happening. They get there, they bring up the timestamp of the footage from that time. There's no thunderstorm. There's a something happening. They seen the wind and stuff blowing around, but they don't see there's no thunderstorm. So, but while they were doing that, they did see that weird anomaly streak down through the sky. Now, I got to tell you, that one really kind of interests me to the nth degree. And maybe this is something that John and I can talk about later.
They were talking 1,000 miles an hour, if I remember correctly.
When it took off, yeah. This thing came down. I think here's the weird thing that really grabbed me about it. We seen this thing come streaking down, right? At an angle. It came down and then it kind of hovered and it moved around. But that thing was moving like an organic something. It was almost like it was a, how do I want to say, a polywog? That's what kind of came to mind in my brain, was like a polywog. Like it was undulating and moving as it turned, because it came down and it kind of went around and it kind of hovered for a minute and then it kind of turned and then it streaked off. Did you guys get that same impression? I mean, let me know what you thought about that. I'm curious to see what you all thought. This is the one that showed up. It was black and it came down through the clouds. It was streaking down through the clouds and it kind of hovered for a minute, kind of turned and moved around, kind of fishing around a little bit, and then shook off. What do you guys think about that? I mean, yeah, tumbling like a very fast bird, a very, very fast bird. Yeah, something like that. What does Linda say here? I thought that the Tic Tac was the black object that they filmed along with the government that moves and flies. I didn't know that the glowing white object that appears to be disappeared was a Tic Tac. Neither. Let's see. Skinwalker Ranch sounds that bizarre that quantum mechanics could be at play. And if those anomalies are disappearing and reappearing, then yes, portals or some sort of time travel is happening. I don't know. That's really something. Oh, here's from John. As quoted from the manual, the Garmin radar altimeter is a best-in-class, most effective radar altimeter designed especially for helicopters and general aviation aircraft. The GRA-55 leverages Garmin's patent-pending digital signal processing technology that works to provide smooth altitude tracking and results in a consistent and highly accurate above-ground level indication. Even in the most challenging environments such as rough terrain, tree canopies, and choppy water. So thank you for that, John. Appreciate it. Sethbound. Hey, Sethbound. Glad you're here with us. What did you say? That the ranch is a crossroads of all sorts of entities. You know, and I know that I'm you know, about to step out on a ledge here. with this, but I mean, why? Well, I'll just throw the question out. Why would these tic tac anomalies, whatever we want to call them, orbs, whatever, why would they be showing up here in the first place? What's your thoughts on that? Why would they even be showing up here like this? This is significant, folks, right here. There's 13 of them out here. And he said he saw like 6 at a time on the camera footage. That's just crazy. That fascinates me. Why are they coming out here? Why are they showing up at the Skinwalker Ranch or in this Uintah Basin? Now we know that, and Thomas told us last Saturday, that these things, that the Skinwalker Ranch is at the center of. I wasn't sure where it was positioned within the basin. Was it off to the side or whatever? And he said, no, it's actually in the middle of the actual satellite dish, I was calling it, basin.
It's almost like you're zeroing in right on right on the middle of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There must, or I'm wondering if there's still something underground that they are getting fuel from, getting something from.
Something. Exactly. There's some sort of a reason why these things are showing up here. And is it possible, if they have that technology to be able to hover in the sky like that and disappear and reappear at will, we think it's at will, do they also have the ability, when they disappear, are they still there, but now they're, shall I say, cloaked? And if that's possible, could that be something that was playing around with the helicopter and it was just simply cloaked? I don't know. I know I'm getting Star Trek-y on y'all, folks, but how else do you explain stuff like this? You can't. Not without us knowing more about that technology. You just can't. It's just like the Tic Tac. Yeah, the Tic Tac craft is seen by the Navy. Yep.
And the Navy had that one ship that had a bunch around them too at one time.
Yeah, that was the Omaha task group.
Right.
There were several ships out there. They were a task group, and they had several of them around those ships, and that's what John was just saying too. So they had several of them that were, I think they said, up to a dozen that were surrounding the entire task group at one point, and then one of them actually became a submerged unidentified vehicle because it went into the water. They said splash, splash, because it went underwater. I don't know. Seth Bound said, I think they can recharge or get some sort of energy from it, or maybe they're doing the same thing we are, trying to figure it out. There you go. That's a possibility. Maybe they're there trying to figure it out. My thinking was that they're probably gathering, because we know that the basin the ground there can conduct electricity. We saw that in the experiment they did with the battery and the ground. And it should not have had a third of an amp of electricity showing up over 60, 70 feet of ground. There should not have been that much. And yet they were getting a third of an amp coming through the ground.
When they unplugged it, the batteries and the flashlight still ran for a while.
When they unplugged it, it still was there for a little while until it dissipated. So that means it does hold electricity. Sorry, I know that's coming through. I'm sitting here tapping. It's because I'm just like baffled by this. Let's see, what does it say here? Does not the military have cloak technology already? I don't know. I don't know. I maybe if they do, they're not going to tell us. And that's, John, you and I we're gonna have a ton of stuff to talk about, for sure. Yeah. Don said, science fiction, not so far-fetched. It's not so much of science fiction. It's getting more and more to be science fact, isn't it? It really is. I think it's very interesting. Oh, somebody got home, huh?
Yep, somebody got home. I told you, right?
Yeah.
All about on time, on cue.
Yeah, somebody came home. Here's the one that they were showing. This was taken. It showed 9 weeks ago. This was on the show last night, showing the one that streaked across the sky. You can see the actual streaking motion of it moving across. So they do. Some of them, they don't always appear and just disappear. Sometimes they do move across the sky, as you see right here. And then of course, this is that shot of that one that I would love to be able to record it and show you guys, but unfortunately, due to the limitations of what we're allowed to do, they allow us to show these pictures, but I'm not allowed to really get much for video, which is fine, and it's their property, and I want to abide by those rules. But watching that thing come down and then kind of swimming, I swimming around like a tadpole or whatever, and then streaked off. I mean, this one right here, I mean, not only the ones popping in and out of existence all of a sudden, it was really cool, but this one right here, the way it was moving, I mean, it was just like a living organism.
It was like it was moving around watching things, taking pictures or whatever.
Yeah, it was just up there swimming around. I think that term was actually used during that episode, that it was swimming around. And then all of a sudden it just straightened out, it took off, and it took off at a speed that, I forget what Travis said, 1,000 miles an hour or something. It was gone. I mean, just that quick. Was it refueling? Was it picking up something, or was it checking something out before it took off? Who knows? But this one right here, I'm moving with a purpose. You're right. You're exactly right, Don. It was moving with a purpose.
Yeah, it's like they had their own radar. It was doing something.
This one. I'm sorry. I keep doing it. I keep tapping on the paper. This just blows my mind. It's a puff of black smoke. Poof, it was gone. Yeah, thanks, Pam, for sure. Moving with a purpose, for sure. Kate has to go. Well, thanks for coming by, Kate. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love your input. Really do. I love when you come on and share with us. That's really cool. Could the attraction be the electromagnetic fields of the ranch? Yes. Yeah, I think that's a definite possibility. I really do. Yeah. What was this one? Who said this one here? I want to acknowledge you if I can find you. Oh, it was Janet said exactly. Maybe whatever is causing the magnetic anomalies is acting like a beacon and attracting the UFOs. I think they know that's why they're coming here. They know that there's something here in this area that attracts them to come here. I think you're right. I honestly believe that's what's happening here. And yeah, there you go, Seth. I mean, that's something that I know we don't get a lot of people that are dedicated to Curse of Oak Island watching this particular show, because this gets a little far out for a lot of those folks. But I'm one of those people that obviously loves this stuff. I really do. I love Curse of Oak Island. We're going to be getting back to that next week, or later this week, actually, and next week and stuff.
But this is. I'll admit, this has grown on me. I mean,
yeah.
Not that I was a skeptic, but I wasn't sure what it was going to be. Could it hold my interest? But the further we went in, the more I got into it.
Yeah, me too. And Pam says, we are learning. Yes, we are, Pam. We are learning for sure. There's no doubt about that. This is that shot from when the cow died, and then that anomaly showed up. They didn't see it at the time, but when they looked back at the footage, they saw that this little black one here, this is a black Tic Tac or whatever, shows up above where the cow was. Now, we don't know that perspective of how far back behind or above that tree it was. Looked pretty close. But then the next frame of footage, it moved from there all the way over to back over here somewhere, and they calculated to be moving, I don't know, several hundred miles an hour, and just that moment, that split second of time.
You would wonder if the majority of these are in that whole area right in there too. They really,
Yep. Yeah, this is weird. So, I mean, folks, you can't deny the fact that there are UAPs showing up at this place, at this ranch.
On a regular basis now.
On a regular basis. Thank you. Yeah, good point. Yeah, Don, yeah, possibly. Maybe a crashed spacecraft of some site, or an asteroid or meteor that hit the ground here at some point. We're going to get to that too here in just a second. So yeah, so back at Pam says back in high school chemistry. We're still learning. Yep. UAP do not hover over nuclear reactors. Some say, or do hover over nuclear reactors. Some say for refuel. This is also why you see UAP activity over certain longitude parallels, possibly to pull off the Earth's magnetic field. I think that's a very good possibility. I do. I honestly believe that's a very good possibility. The Awoken One says, if government and military testing was happening in the area, they would not reveal themselves so openly to the public. And that is why I think alien or interdimensional technology is at hand.
That's where the previous owner comes into play. Mm-hmm. What did he find? And we really don't know anything.
Right. Yeah, this was last year. This is the one they saw last year. But that was really weird too. Then all of a sudden the cattle start going crazy. And they start running. If you notice, when they showed that footage, they were running away from the area. They were running away from this area over here. This is where the cow died. And they looked over there, and the cattle were all running away from this area, which they don't congregate over there very often. They were showing from their GPS trackers that are on all their ear tags that they have. But they show them all running. They're running away from that fence line. This fence you see right back here behind them, right here. That fence is this fence right here. Okay. The cattle, which you really can't see in this picture very well because they were kicking up dust, and it's just a shot. Oh, you can kind of see them right back here over Caleb's shoulder. They're running. Now, they're a little bit further back from where that was.
But they were moving. I mean, it was.
They were all heading that way. They were running away from.
And it was like a double time. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, they were all of a sudden. And so they're all checking that out. And then you seen, there they are moving away. Now there's that fence and that area where the cow died. Obviously, it's back a little bit. They're back a little bit further, but it was over in this area over here where the cow died. But they're all moving away from that area all of a sudden. Okay. And I'm going to throw this up here real quick because I love this statement right here. Animals have a sense more than we do of danger. They also have a sense of changes in. How do I want to say this? Changes in atmospheric conditions. Does that go far enough? Atmospheric conditions, or maybe those electromagnetic fields. I think they can sense that, and so
and whether they could, and they have that way with weather also.
Yeah. Linda says, I think the better question is, why did the cattle go there? They said that they don't go there since the cow died. That's very true, Linda. Thank you. So, yeah, would you? And I don't know. The cow died a year ago. Would they still know? Would they still sense that? Would they sense what it was that caused that cow to die?
How the remains even still there?
No, I
think they moved them, if I remember correctly.
No, yeah, they moved them. They moved them down to the far. Was it the far west side or the far east end of the down to the fence line, all the way to the end of the property? They moved it.
They were maybe something in the ground. They just don't want to do that. They just don't want to go there.
Yeah, they want to stay away from this area. You're exactly right. I thought about that too. Let's see who actually. That was Janet. Thank you, Janet. Maybe they didn't want to go there because they could smell the death, and that's true. I think animals can pick up on that. But I don't think they, Linda said they weren't on that absolute spot. And you're right. I think they were a little bit further to the south of the spot where the cow died. They were just a little bit back of that. And then they ran across. At least it looked that way from the picture. Changes in barometric pressure. Yeah, they pick up on that. They do. The animals just can't, and again, I am not a expert on like birds. talk about a bird when they fly south for the winter, and then they fly right back to the place that they were living when they came back, or when they were in the summertime or springtime or whatever. How do they know? How do they know where to go? Are they looking at the topography as they're flying along? They know exactly where they're going. Do they follow a particular path every time? Or are they picking up on some sort of the Earth's magnetic field? They know where to go based upon, I don't know. The cow ghost. It's a cow ghost.
Okay.
Oh, I'm getting a call. All right, let's see who we got here. Okay, what do we have? Hello?
Hey, Jeff, John Edwards, how you doing?
John. Hey, all right, I'm doing well. Thanks for calling in.
I love the conversation, and you're right. Animals have a way of seeing things and sensing things that we don't.
Yep.
They can see different spectrums that we don't. I mean, you ever wonder why a dog looks in the corner of a room and what are they seeing or hearing that we can't?
Yep.
So, and cows, they typically lay down when the weather's like that. I mean, the animals do so much that we can't see because of our limited senses.
Exactly.
And then, and I think that's so much of, like, if I'm going to do alien technology, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, if I know what a human being is, their spectrum of senses, would I not make a craft or a cloaking or something that was outside their range of senses?
Yep. Absolutely.
It makes perfect sense to me. So I think a lot of what we're seeing, the cows are seeing something that we can't, or we're sensing something that we can't innately. And I think, if it really is technology beyond our means, it's something that is designed so we can't see it. Right. So what's your opinion on that?
I agree. And, and I think that over the years, or as we've come along, that because of the fact that we start to rely on certain, our eyes and our ears and whatnot, so much that I think we've lost some of the ability to pick up on some of this ourselves. I think that probably if we really could understand that we would be able to realize that we had some of that same type of sensitivity, if I could.
We've lost our intuition.
Yeah, we have. We've kind of lost that, I think, over the years, and it's because we rely on different things. So you're right. Would a alien technology, would they work on creating something that you're right, that would be able to be invisible to our eyes and ears? Sure, why not?
It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
If you really want to be cloaked, if you really want to be unseen, you can make it so it's outside our spectrum. Now, you occasionally have a person that has that kind of extrasensory or that extra sense that hasn't been lost.
Mm-hmm.
And they can pick up on things like that.
Right.
And there's been documentation of that. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight.
Yeah, that'll be for
it's a great rabbit hole to go down. But, I really believe that, if I'm designing something, I'm going to design it so humans can't see it, that we're outside the spectrum. But it doesn't mean animals can't see it, and they see it all the time.
Right.
Or feel it.
Or feel it.
What?
Or feel it. Mm-hmm. They would sense it in some way, a feeling or whatever. Yeah. And I mentioned this once. This was a while back when I first started talking about Skinwalker Ranch. I had brought this up. And if any of you folks have ever owned a cockatiel, are you still there, John? Oh, did I lose him? Oh, he's calling back. Here he comes. Okay, there you are. You back?
Yeah, I just lost you.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there's a lot to it, Jeff. I just wanted to get your opinion and Jack's opinion on, these technologies that are kind of beyond what we sense and kind of beyond our means of sensing, which is very clever if you don't want to really intrude in human activity, so to speak.
Yep.
And it really calls into question what would be. I always look at motive. What's the motive? If we're really being visited, what is the motive for the visitation? What is the motive of these Tic Tacs? What is their agenda?
Right.
They're not just coming to visit us randomly. Mm-hmm. There has to be a reason to it.
Right. And they are starting to make themselves known.
Yes. Yes. And I think they've been known for a while, but a lot of that information has been suppressed due to, in secret societies, government, what they want the masses to know, is not much, because of there's so much of it is just, it could scare the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And if the disclosure really happened, just think about what it would do to religion.
Yeah.
And the whole religious aspect
Right.
of it. So, I think there's a lot to disclosure, but I think a lot of this, Jeff, is slowly being leaked out to the public.
Yep. I agree.
And I think a lot of it, if there are aliens, which I do believe there are, that the aliens and somewhere in the government are slowly leaking that out and getting us used to the idea.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right on that.
Of alien life. Yep. So I just wanted to call you and kind of throw my 2 cents in tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I wanted to bring up the example, and I did talk about this once before. Okay. I had a cockatiel. And if anybody's owned a bird like that before, so I lived out in California, Southern California, the earthquake, when I was going to say capital, it's not the capital. There's places that have earthquakes more often, but living in Southern California, I did experience a few earthquakes. My cockatiel that I had could sense when an earthquake was going to happen before it actually happened. I remember, I distinctly remember watching it hanging. It was like it was like hanging upside down with its wings out, and we're looking at the bird, going, "What is wrong with that bird? Why is he acting so crazy?" And then it was like 10 minutes later, we had an earthquake, and it's like he knew, he sensed it. Now, was it because he felt the vibrations before we did, or was it some sort of I don't know. I mean, what could it have been? But that bird, it happened twice. And both times that bird reacted prior to the earthquake actually being audible or being felt by us. And so I know animals do. And somebody, the Awoken one just said, he said, if you look at the tsunami that hit Indonesia, scientists had a group of sharks tagged in that area. And days before the earthquake hit, the sharks, before the earthquake hit, the sharks moved thousands of miles away from the impending tsunami. How did they know? Was it just pure chance? I don't think so. I don't think so. So
nothing by coincidence. Nothing by coincidence. They knew.
Yeah, they knew. Absolutely. And these cows moved, and they moved out of that area for some particular reason.
Exactly. And don't ask me how they do it. I don't understand it. I'm sure we will understand it one day.
Yep.
But they had that sixth sense about them, and they moved away from that area for whatever reason.
Yep.
But do I think it was related to the Tic Tac? Yes, I think there's a strong correlation between the appearance of the Tic Tac and those cows.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then at that point, then right as they saw the cows running away from that particular area, Travis and them, they all start moving out there, and they're grabbing their instruments and they're taking a look at it. Not only did we get the north, the compasses going wacky, and I believe it was even
two different types of compasses too.
What's that, Jack?
There were two different types of compasses. Obviously.
Yes, yeah, the one that's on Travis's phone. I have one like that on my phone, and also a regular like Boy Scout. I'll call it a Boy Scout type compass that Dragon had. His was 190 degrees off during this time that they ran out there and they were looking 190 degrees off at that time. And this is also the area, and this is something that was in the notes here. Caleb and Dragon head out to the pasture and with a tri-field meter to see if there's any abnormal readings. This is the area where the team detected harmful gamma rays this year, and where the cow had died last year. Travis says the magnetic field is reading about twice what is twice it normally would be, and increasing dramatically as he steps off the porch. And the cows sensed it. I think the cows sensed it. Now, human beings did. Now, was there a point in time where we did? And that's what we were just kind of talking about, that there might have been a point in time where human beings did sense this, but because we've become too wrapped up in our other senses, I think we've lost that capability.
We let machines.
Absolutely. I think it's something that the ancients could do. You look at Egypt and you look at other cultures who I really have a sense that they understood that aspect of the human consciousness and the mind. I think, just over years and with our dependency on technology and other things that we've kind of lost that.
Yep.
I mean,
agree.
Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely do. What do you think, Jack?
I think we've lost a lot. We depend on machines more than we do anything else anymore.
Yes. Yep. I agree.
Yep. I totally agree. Okay, I just want to call in. Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Great. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of talk about you and I here in a minute when we before
great.
I close for tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of
The whole thing is fascinating, and just to think, I'll leave you with this, Jeff, because this is what I think about when I think about aliens. Is I think about our minds, and I'm thinking about the gurus and the meditators and the ascended masters and the sages.
Yep.
And what's different about how they view reality in their mind, and ETs and their mind.
Mm-hmm.
How far off are we that from the kind of the extension of our mind to where they can bend the laws of physics,
right?
And we can barely understand the laws of physics.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
But, for me, that's something I constantly ponder.
Yep.
I think the sages, the mystics, and all understand that much more clearly than we do. But it's something I kind of always ponder. So I'll leave you with that.
Okay. Yeah. Good thought to kind of chew on for a little bit. But you're right.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree. I do agree with you. All right. Thanks for calling,
thanks,
John.
Jeff.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So yeah, very good point. And I think that I think he's right there because I think we that there are people who can, like meditate and be able to pick up on different kinds of stuff like that still. But I think our technology has made us not only made us lazy and also has made us not depend on our own senses anymore and depend on the electronics that we have around us, right? Yeah. I don't know. Now, one of the things that as we go along here, as we finish up, we're about an hour and 30 minutes in. Hey, here's the two different compasses reading just, it has really crippled us. That was John. Yeah, you're right. That's very true. Who said this too? Hi, Diane. Diane said this here. She was glad that Brandon Fugal's there to experience seeing some strange anomalies with the devices and seeing the cattle running around and acting all strange. Yeah, you're right. He was able to be there and actually witness this. And we don't see that very often, do we? That he's actually there.
Oh, and I'm looking in my notes. I cannot remember the name of the gentleman about the circle that they found in the field.
Oh, the ones that did the scans? Or are you talking about the sheriff?
I think the sheriff.
Yeah, the retired
sheriff. Circle is like if something landed there or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't. I saw him. I was almost snapped that picture and brought it, but I didn't. I've forgotten who what his name was. He was the retired sheriff. If anybody can remember, what his name was. You're right. Yeah, he was talking about that. That's that same area out there.
It was a perfect circle. I mean,
yeah, that's that same general area where the cattle were running away from. That he said that the cattle mutilations happened. That was key, and they saw that depression.
Chris Pormet.
I'm sorry?
Chris Pormet.
Oh, okay. Great. Somebody.
I found my note. I found.
Oh, you found it in your notes. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, Porret. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's Linda Pop. I'm glad you had that. You had that in your notes. That's cool. Yeah, he was the retired sheriff, and he talked about that's where the place where the cattle mutilations were, in that same spot. And that's where the place where the depression was in the ground.
Depression in the ground, a perfect circle.
And I believe, was that not only also the place where, and I know the story was kind of dragged around a little bit for its complete accuracy, but was that not also the place where the dogs had the encounter, or the dogs were killed, or something like that?
Ooh.
I thought that was the same general area that the young lad took him out there and showed him where the dogs died.
I remember.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I don't remember if that's exactly, but isn't that weird though? And that's one area where the cows they don't really like to hang out. And then you see them running from that area as well. So yeah, just That one particular area deserves a little bit more investigation. I do believe. Now, getting
I would
towards
have them dig in that circle just to see if there's anything below it.
yeah, well, they kind of did, but I don't think they went deep enough, quite honestly.
No.
And that's something that Thomas did mention when they rolled over that rock. And I know a lot of people. I've seen some stuff on the other Skinwalker Ranch sites and stuff, and talking about our pages and talking about that rock. You know, why would they tell them not to go dig there, and then they go dig? Well, that's not exactly. And Ryan Skinner, thank you very much for clearing this up on your page, on your Skinwalker Ranch page, that you cleared up that he had said something that was about his fault, that it was broadcast that they said don't dig in this spot. It wasn't. I forget exactly what he did say, but if any of you are members over there, you can check that out. But he clarified that very well, talking about what really did. What they had said about that particular spot. They said go there at night. I think it was something about if you're there at nighttime, be there on that rock, sit on that rock or whatever, but observe from that rock area, and you will see some weirdness happening, some strangeness happening from that rock area. I think that's what he was talking about. Not so much don't dig there, because of course, just like kids, don't go there. And then
We'll do that. We're going to go.
Don't do that. And of course we do that as soon as mom's back is turned. We're doing that. Right. So, but that's a key thing there about, and that's something Thomas had said. That's what I was getting to, was that Thomas said he wanted to go deeper. And that's what Ryan also said. Ryan Skinner also said that they need to go deeper. And Thomas had indicated that because of the limits of that particular excavator that they were using, they could only dig so deep, and they were at the end of it, right? So they couldn't go any deeper. But he wanted to go deeper, and they feel like they needed to go deeper. They just couldn't at that particular time without bringing out, one of like that big boomed excavator they got out on Oak Island that has the 50-foot boom. They could go down 50 feet with it. That's what they need out there on the ranch for sure.
I bet by next year they have one out there.
Yeah,
that they can use.
I think you're right.
They're going to use it 3 or 4 times this year. They could have used that.
Right, and again, it's getting to where I'm about to go now with this particular picture you see here. Now, this is something that I brought this up. I don't know if it was last week when I was talking to Thomas Winterton, or if it was the week before during the synopsis or recap show. But I had brought up the fact that, talking about the Uintah Basin being a dish. Okay, it's a dish. It's a depression in the ground. And I had made the comment that I think that, or how possible is it that depression in the ground could have been a asteroid strike or a meteor strike that happened many, many, many years ago, right? And I felt pretty cool, and it left behind space rock. It left behind material from that impact that it carried this asteroid or meteorite or whatever it was that hit the ground, carried with it some this material that is now deep underground, and they found it when they drilled. Remember when they drilled down there with the big drill rig out at the triangle, and they came up with this weird rock or weird ground composition that they said, that Travis said you could take all the stuff that was in that and refine it and build yourself an airplane with it, or a naval or Air Force jet out of all that stuff that was in the ground. So that is what Travis was talking about with this picture right here. And I felt really cool that he brought this up, because this is exactly what I looked at. I Googled, do they know for sure where all these things hit over the course of, the millions of years, or the length of time that the earth has been around? They assume that this, that there was impact, craters all over the earth that they've discovered. And one of them being, right here where the Uintah Basin is. And that's something that Travis was pointing out with this particular picture. And oh yeah, I grabbed that one of the one that killed the what they think is the one that killed the dinosaurs was the one that hit right here, the Yucatan Peninsula, that hit right here in the Gulf of Mexico. They think that's the one that killed the dinosaurs. But again, are they sure? But in this next picture, he highlighted this particular impact site right here, which he thinks is now that's pretty much all of the United States western side there that that he's talking about. That's a bigger circle. That's a bigger circle than the basin itself in Utah. But that's what he was saying, that this is a possibility that the basin was created by an impact, and that impact left behind material in the ground that could then be the material that is able to be conductive to electricity, not only hold or conduct electricity through it, and with the experiment that they did with the battery and the flashlight and the multimeter, but also be able to hold energy even after the electricity has been disconnected. It actually retains that. And they proved that with that experiment with the battery and the flashlight. They also proved that with the Tesla coil. They were still getting readings that they were picking up during when they started picking up while the Tesla coil, the big one, was going. And then when they turned it off, they continued to get those readings. So we know that the ground is capable of retaining some of this electrical current, or like charging it up like a battery, at least for a little while. We don't know how long. They didn't really talk about how long until it dissipated. But so is it possible that a meteor or asteroid strike could have left behind material in the ground that is capable now of doing that? And that by doing so, this would be why a UAP would want to come by here and check this out, and maybe then pick up residuals from this.
I'm almost going to throw it at you that maybe there was a smaller base in there before, and you got a hit and it just went down deeper.
Could be. Yeah, you might be right. So, I mean, the very cool thing about this, folks, and this is where they left us with the, this was the picture. Before I get to that real quick, this was the picture they were showing, basically the basin right here. And they were looking at the, I guess this would be the topographical, looking at the ground, showing the basin right here underneath it. And then they were looking at some of the other areas around the Earth. This is a closer picture of that. Then they were looking at some of the other areas around the Earth where you see the size of this. Look at it, 50 miles, 75 miles. It's a very large sunken area. And then they looked at some of the different ones around in different areas of the world depicted by that picture, where those different impact areas that they believe are impact areas, just how deep they go. And this was one over in the Middle East that they were showing. And this is something that John and I will probably be discussing a little bit. Basically, this is another, a proposed impact area over in the Middle East. And this highlighted area right here is where they were saying that was where, if you've read the Bible and you've read Ezekiel, Ezekiel had the vision of the wheel, the Ezekiel's wheel, and that was right in this area right here. According to the Bible. And so this is another basin that they think is a impact area from many, many years ago. So interesting, is it not? I think it's very interesting, personally. And there's there was a picture that they showed on the show. This is from the from Ezekiel's wheel. Cool. Yeah, I just thought that was pretty neat. And then, of course, they showed this is the Tic Tac videos. This is the one right here. And then the second one they showed the gimbal one. That's this one that was actually turning and as it maneuvered, and they were tracking it. And as John just got done telling us on the phone, egg magnetic areas too, exactly. But as John was telling us on the phone there, I think they're leaking this out slowly but surely to us. They're softening us up for disclosure. And with the statement that came out, that they put out, it didn't give us much. It's true. But the thing that it did give us, and John and I will elaborate on this on more, is the fact that the information that they're leaking out to us slowly but surely, they are admitting at least enough to say that, yes, 144 some cases, we don't know what they are. They are for real. They are there, and we're admitting that they're there, but we don't know what they are. So take that for what it is. If they know more about it, which I believe they do, if they have any recovered craft, which I think they do, they don't want to disclose that, and they got good reasons for that. And I'm not too, wrapped up in, they need to reveal all, because there's certain aspects to that they wouldn't want to.
National security concerns.
Exactly. Thank you. They wouldn't want, for reasons of national security and keeping secrets from other countries. I think that's something they need to keep secret if they do. Don't show your hand, right? You're playing poker or whatever. You don't show your hand. But anyway, they're slowly but surely leaking this information out and telling us that, hey, these things are real and we don't know what they are. Okay, so you take that, you pull that over to Skinwalker Ranch and Erik's video showing 13 different anomalies that were picked up. Tic-tac type anomalies. Why are they starting to show themselves? Why are they starting to appear all over the place? So, I think this all goes hand in hand with what's happening at Skinwalker Ranch and what's being revealed by the government. I think it all ties together. But now the guys have an interesting opportunity here. I think they're on the right track with an impact crater. I think they're on the right track with debris being left behind by this. This gives them a new unique opportunity now that I think we may see going into season 3, assuming that they are doing a season 3, which I think they are.
That was what the impression I got Saturday from him.
Yeah. Thomas couldn't say because he's not allowed to say, and he didn't. But
his NDA kicked in. He couldn't.
Right. Yes, he's got an NDA that's pretty ironclad, and I do not want him to violate that in any way. I don't want any of them to violate their NDAs. That's not what we're here for. I don't want to get them in trouble. But I think that there is going to be a season 3, and now they have an opportunity to take this investigation to a level which they have not before. They have an opportunity to look at things. Good night, Dave. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Houston, Texas, Dave. Glad you were here with us tonight. Don Brent said other countries probably have them too. This gives them a unique opportunity to study this in a different way now. If they know, or if they're pretty certain this is what happened, now they can take a look at, they can say, okay, there's not an alien base down there. There's not a military base down there. So what is down there that's causing this? Now let's take and look at that and say, okay, if it is an impact crater, if there is material down there or some sort of large portion of this boulder or asteroid still down there, let's get a chance to investigate this. We have a unique opportunity here to investigate this and find out what it is, find out what it can do, find out what its capabilities are, find out all they can about it, study it. This gives them that opportunity to do so. And I think that's what we're going to start to see going into season 3. I think it's a unique opportunity, and I think it's something I certainly want to know. I think maybe all of us do, don't we? Don't we want to know what they've got down there and look at it closer? So anyway, Linda was saying here to let's see. Bryant was asked on another interview. He's done some really great interviews. We're trying our best to try to get him on here with us. And said he couldn't say, but was grinning from ear to ear, and rolling his eyes. It was fun to watch him. Yeah, it was. I did watch a couple of his interviews that he did, and it was really cool. That guy is so much different, isn't he? So much different in his interviews than he is on the show. I kind of talk about the fact that when they had all the rockets out and the look on his face, and he was really excited about that. They were all, he's smiling big at that whole time.
Oh, cool. Kid in a candy store.
Yeah, kid in a candy store. I know. I would have been too if I'd have been there that day. Do you think, Jeff and Jack, do you think that otherworldly entities and the U.S. government actually have an agreement? A lot of assumption in this question. Sorry for taking the liberties here, but assuming ET contact, even if I think there has been. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you and I are going to explore that more. John and I are going to be doing we've been talking about this. We're putting together a new show that we're going to be talking about. It will be kind of aside from our Curse of Oak Island and Skinwalker Ranch. We're looking at maybe doing a Friday night thing and see how it goes. I'm tipping our hand here a little bit, kind of previewing it a little bit, but he and I are going to be talking about all kinds of things from UAPs and UFOs and maybe some paranormal stuff. We're going to be taking a look at early mankind and some of the things like Ezekiel's wheel. The Egyptians, stuff that's been going on there. We're gonna take a look at some of this stuff, and we're gonna talk about it. We hope that we need the truth. The Oakland one says, yes, we do. We need the truth, but we're gonna talk about some of these things. We hope that we can drag some of you along that might be interested in discussing it with us. So there'll be more coming out about that. We'll put something together when we have all our details and everything ready of where and when and what we're going to talk about. But that'll be coming up down the road here a little bit, and we'll have some fun with it and see where it goes. All right. I don't know. So that pretty much wraps up. Let's see. Did I have any more visuals? Oh yeah. Here's another one that I was just talking about. This slowly feeding out these disclosures to us. Defense Department confirms leaked videos of unidentified aerial phenomena is real. And that was that triangle shaped one that was flashing and moving across the sky. Our pyramid shaped. What do you guys make of that? I mean, here it is. The government's leaking this out to us and giving us tidbits of information. Oh, I wanted to also say about Jim showing up. We're glad to see him again on the show. Oh my goodness. I mean, he was there in the beginning. He was there last season and there at the beginning. We're so glad to see him back. He's still involved. And as I think it was, and I heard Dragon say it, and I know Thomas was talking about it, that he's been in that area so long, and he's developed this relationship with all the people around the area, with the
Indian tribes.
Yeah, the Indian tribes, the Ute, and all that. He's done a phenomenal job of working with not only the team, but also working on all the folks in the area and everything. Glad to see him back on the show there, even though it was just for a few moments on the deck there, meeting with Brandon as they were. Brandon came out, was thanking everybody for a great season and all the hard work that they had done. Hugs going around as they were breaking up and passing on, and it was great to see. I was really happy to see that he was back there. He's still part of the team, so we're really happy about this. I grabbed this picture here because I noticed this as they were wrapping up, and I wanted to take another look at this. But behind Dragon and Thomas right here is a hole that's been dug in the ground. Now, I don't know what it was for, but you see all this dirt piled up right here? There was a big square hole right behind him. And I was wondering, what's that for? Are they building something? Maybe they're just building something and it's really of no consequence whatsoever. There was a big hole behind them. And if you go back and watch the show again and you catch that, just look for that hole and see what you think. It was gone. It was just a flash, and I didn't get a real good picture of it here. There was actually a better shot of it, but there's a hole back there, and I was just kind of, okay, what are they digging over there? What's going on? They're digging
the last 30 seconds of the show.
Huh?
It was like the last 30 seconds.
It was, yeah, you're right. It was. And as they were standing there and they were saying goodbye to Travis as he was driving off the ranch for the last time for the season. And again, we hope that we see him back next year in a season 3. But like I said, they got a unique opportunity here to actually explore some stuff that they didn't get to do this year. But I think they have a better focus now of what to look for. Like I said, throughout the alien base, throughout the military base, now look for something that may have been left behind from an impact crater, right? And why is it affecting things the way it is? Why is it?
What Travis says we may not have the answers, but we're figuring out a method of getting the answers.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, yep. So now they have a direction. I think they're going to be more focused on what they can do next season And so they've already proven there's weird stuff happening. That the gamma ray detection, or the gamma detection, radiation detection, the weird radio signals from the RF spectrum analyzer. I mean, just the lightning detector going off all the time, just randomly going off. Caleb's phone going wacky. And somebody had mentioned to slow that down. I saw that. He says, slow that thing down, record it and slow it down and see if there's some kind of a message being sent there. I mean, but now they know all these things are definitely happening. Now they can try to narrow down why are they happening. What did Jake say here? Jake, I popped up a picture. Thanks for coming by tonight. I really appreciate your joining us. I've always believed that a breakaway civilization with a high level of technology created deep underground bunkers during the last ice age prior to the flood. When you consider that the several hundred thousands of years fully involved humans have been on the planet, seems rather silly to believe that we have the highest level of tech that has ever been on the planet, especially for only the last 100 years. And that's another interesting thing that I'm sure that, and Jake, you could probably join us too as a guest sometime when we get going with John and I. But if you think about that, the exponential growth in our technology over the last 100 years, pretty phenomenal, isn't it? I mean, it wasn't just little more than 100 years ago. We were still just running around. We didn't, cars. I mean, you think about all that stuff, right? And we put people on the moon. I mean, in the last 100 years, it's really been crazy, hasn't it? The exponential growth of technology over the last 100 years is just phenomenal. But like you just said, rather silly for us to believe that we have the highest level of tech that has ever been on this planet. So you could be right. But yeah, we're going to delve into a lot of that stuff coming up. I think we're still going to be doing Skinwalker Ranch season 3 next year, probably next summer or whatever. But also our Curse of Oak Island. We love Curse of Oak Island, near and dear to our hearts, and beyond Oak Island. And as I wrap all this up, I do want to just say too that we have this coming Saturday. This coming Saturday, we have Christian B. Roper will be joining us. He was on the very first Beyond Oak Island show that was on last year. I interviewed him once before. He was working on Jean Lafitte, the privateer.
I think that was your first interview. Also,
on our own here. Yeah, it was our first one, and he's going to be coming back. He's been working on a lot of interesting stuff, documentary and stuff. He's got a website. I think we posted it on our Facebook page. But he's going to be here this Saturday, 2:00. We're going to be Eastern time. We're going to be talking with him. And then we got some interesting things coming up. We're going to do a couple of Wednesday night type of things where we have a guest coming with us on Wednesday night. Brian Abbott on the 28th, Court Lindahl on the 21st. So we're going to have some fun with it. And then in the future, once we get things rocking and rolling with John and I, we'll break that out. And we'll have some interesting things there too coming up. So we hope you guys enjoy it. And again, I'll just say, when you're out on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button for us. We really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. Believe me, it really does. It does help us out a lot. And if you're over on the Twitch side, if you just want to follow over there, it's a follow. It's free. Please do so, and you can catch us over there. Court is fantastic. That man's got. He researches such a broad area of stuff, and he really digs into it so deep. But anyway, about ready to wrap it up. Spend 2 hours, folks. I don't like to hold you more than that, but thank you so much for all of you who have been here with us tonight. Wrapping up season 2 of the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. It's been a fun ride. We'll keep talking about some more stuff as we go along, but man, it's been fun. And I'm still trying to get Dragon to come on, if I can get him to come on the show, or Caleb, or Cameron, or whoever, we can get to come on. It would be great. Erik would be great. Brandon, if I can get Brandon Fugal. But we'll still do that if we can. We're working on it, but we'll see. But anyway, thanks so much, folks, for being here with us tonight. We love the interaction. I love talking to you guys about this stuff. Jack, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jan,
for this. And Jack and I are going to be hitting hard with the Oak Island stuff and the Beyond Oak Island stuff as we go along. And John and I are going to be working on a new project. So thanks, guys, for being here. We really appreciate it. We hope to drag you along with us to help us with these discussions as we go forward in the future. Linda and Jan, again, thank you so much for all the hard work you guys do to keep this group alive. The group would not be here if it weren't for you.
The ladies behind the scenes and
on this. Yeah. Thanks, folks, for being here with us tonight. We hope to see you on Saturday for Christian Roper. All right. Have a good night. We'll see you then. Bye-bye now.